Okay.
Sorry, more technical difficulties, but we're back at it. So we were talking about your first running event in Donegal.
Yeah, the first one that came to mind was an Ulster Championships. I might have been like 7 or 8. It was in Killybegs in Donegal. Just started on the beach, and at those young ages, the cross country races are just so flipping short. It was like 600 meters, so all the kids are just sprinting on this beach. But yeah, I just had so much fun. I think it came like second, so it was pretty fun experience. Yeah, just kept doing it for another, I don't know, 16 years after that.
Yeah, you joined Lagan Valley Athletics Club, competed with them, competed for your school,
hmm
and yeah, seized your opportunities. Until we'll jump right to you went overseas to America
hmm
to get a scholarship.
I did. Um, yeah, so like basically story there is just a lot of people in the running community would go over to the States, and like a lot of the top athletes from like Irish running would have gone over there, as well as my dad. He went over there to do a master's. So it's kind of just something that I always wanted to do. And it was just like the next kind of step in my running career, really. And it seemed like a good adventure. And then I went over and just ran, probably not as fast as I would have wanted to, but it was just such like a great experience, like meeting all of my friends from over there, and then obviously meeting my girlfriend over there, who's now over here in Belfast. So it was good 5.5 years well spent.
Yeah, productive time.
Mhm.
How hard was it to get that scholarship?
Um, it's a tricky question because I was gonna say it didn't feel that hard, but what like looking back, what went into it was pretty special. Like I was uh pretty much training like every day for running and doing like 3 hard sessions per week. And I didn't think of it as like discipline or consistency at the time. It was just what I did. It was like, okay, it's Tuesday evening. I'm going to running. I'm going to see my mates. And then just see him for Thursday and see him for Saturday for the hard sessions, and then doing a long run on Sunday. Um, so yeah, it's like it was just kind of it was just the routine and like the system that was laid out for me, and
Hmm.
it just turned me into like a pretty decent runner. And then because I was just training so consistently, I was running pretty decent times, and then reached out to a it's like a scouting sort of company that helps you get like placements at universities in the States, and then they helped me like find get a couple of offers for athletic scholarships. But then it was one of the ones that my actually found online that offered really good academic scholarships, as well as athletic scholarships, and that's where I ended up going to Miami University. Yeah.
Great. And were there any specific times they were looking for? Like, did you have to run a certain like 5K in less than or
It depends on like the quality of university you're looking for. So obviously, I was looking to get into a good athletic as well as academic university. And then the coach at the time at Miami, she was looking for sub 15 or sub 4 in the 1500, or sub it was like getting down to like 15 flat for the 5K. And I didn't get either of those times, so I had to go on like academic scholarship mainly, and then hopefully get athletic money when I was over there. But that coach ended up moving on before I even got there, so that didn't happen.
fair? Um, so before let's go back before you achieved this scholarship, you went over to
Mhm.
America. At what point did you think or realize that you had talent in running and were wanting to go places?
um I'd be guessing I'd estimate about like Well, I knew it was pretty good from when I was very young because I was winning races. Like won my first Ulster Championship when I was like 9, I think, and then uh, so I knew I had like talent for running. Um, what was your question?
Yeah. Was there a point, was there like a race or a time that you achieved that sort of made you realize you could pursue this and to a very competitive level and think that you had some sort of talent?
Yeah. So it wasn't so much a race. It was the fact that I knew it was pretty good. And then I just remember driving to swimming one time with my dad, and I can't remember the exact details of what we were talking about, but something he said has stuck with me to this day, obviously, which was you can't be everything you want to, but you can be anything you want to. And when he said that to me, I kind of was like, okay, I think I can be like a professional runner, and that seems like the most fun thing for me to do. And I know it was pretty good. And then even though like I was kind of like a pretty late bloomer, in terms of like growing into like an adult, and I was really wee for a long time, as you know. And so I wasn't doing that well in races. I was coming uh like 40th to 50th in like Irish cross country races. And so, but I still had that belief. I knew like if I wanted enough, like I'd grow into my body, I'd be fine. Like I was racing against people that were like twice my size. And so it's basically the belief from my dad as well as my mom, like that I can do this like at a really, really high level. That's kind of how that's kind of why I believed I could do it professionally.
Yeah. Um, and I suppose was the time, I don't know, when you came second in the Irish skills cross country, was that a big game changer in terms of wow, that's a big breakthrough, that's a big achievement? Like,
Yeah, that definitely was probably my biggest breakthrough like during my school running career, because the funny thing was I actually came sixth in the Ulster Championships, which were I think they were 2 to 3 weeks beforehand. And so I came sixth, and then you're going into the Irish schools with uh Leinster, Munster, and Connacht like athletes as well. And it's like, yeah, if you just like multiply out over the four provinces, it would be I'd probably be expected to come about 24th. And then I just ran really well and came second, and it's like you just never know like what's going to happen.
yeah, well, and then did the international Celtic Games come after that when you came fifth?
Um, can't remember the timeline on it.
Yeah, fair.
I think I think it was around. I think that was 2012 as well. So I think it was around about that time.
Hmm. And that cross country or was that athletics, the Celtic
That was
Games?
cross country.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty cool as well because that was kind of coming off like a lot of high placed finishes or like low place finishes, bad place finishes. So like 40th and 50th and stuff in like the previous years. Just because I was like really wee. And so that was kind of a nice refresher to remind me that I'm like still pretty good athlete.
Yeah. Arguably that's a bigger achievement than second in the Irish, fifth in the UK.
Yeah, it was without the English people though, but it was still a pretty damn good achievement. So yeah, I probably would say that was my best cross country result
Yeah.
in my career.
Is there any other events or breakthroughs I'm missing or haven't asked you about before you went to America that you can highlight or remember as breakthroughs or
I'd say those are the main ones.
moments?
Um, yeah, my later years in school were kind of plagued with a couple of like partially collapsed lungs, and that kind of wrecked a lot of my cross country seasons and track seasons. So yeah, most of my achievements are before like upper sixth and lower sixth in terms of my school cross country.
Yeah, that's right. When was that? You got your punctured lung?
It wasn't so much a punctured lung, it's just like the lung like comes away from the chest wall. But when was that? I think would have been late 2013 was the first one, maybe. And then some way through 2014 was my second one. And then I think the end of 2014 was then I got the surgery to like stop it,
Mm-hmm.
reduce the likelihood of it happening again.
Yeah, and that was upper sixth or after? That was after you finished school, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was during my gap year.
And you hadn't got a scholarship at that point, or you had?
Uh, I'm. I imagine I don't think I had actually, and that
Yeah.
was like kind of the bonus of going over on an academic scholarship as opposed to
Hmm.
an athletic
Yeah.
scholarship. It's like there's less pressure on you like performing athletically.
Hmm. I remember at that time you were saying to us that that there was a risk that this would keep happening or whatever, and you said, well, that's the risk I'm going to take. I want to see how far I can go with running. And you know,
Like the risk with the collapsed lung, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah, like it wasn't even there's risk that it could have kept happening without the surgery. Probably
Mm,
like I think the surgeon said like a 70-ish. Let's say it was a 50% chance that
mm,
would happen again. And I wasn't even that worried about that because it wasn't that serious a thing. Like it fell away and then it kind of just fixed itself. So it was a bit annoying, but not that serious. And then with the surgery, it reduced it to like a 2% or something chance happening again. So it wasn't like I had like a heart disease or whatever, and I was like running the risk of really like hurting myself.
no, yeah, fair enough. So you went to America then, and what was your? You mentioned briefly your memories, and it was a great time for you. But
Mhm.
was there any like breakthroughs there, or was it really tough there, or how well were you running there?
Oh, I went over with like it's kind of like a weird niggly injury in my foot. And then so I didn't run my first cross country season or that first year of track. Um, and like I was probably partying stuff and too much, like not getting as good sleep as I should have, not eating as well as I should have. It was a really good time.
Yeah.
But then in my second year, I started getting back into the swing of things. I had some decent cross country races. Then again, I had like some sort of injury in my track season. And then I think it was my junior season, so my third year over in the States, I made it onto our team conference team. So I would be our top, I think it was our top 9 or top 7 athletes on the team. Um, and I also ran 24 53 for 8K cross country. That's different than what the 5 mile time that I told you.
All right. Yeah. Fair.
Um, that was a different race. So yeah, that was pretty pleased to know like that was like getting under 5 minute miles for 5 miles. So that was pretty pleasing, especially after a rough couple of years of not really performing. Again, I've forgotten your question.
Yeah. No, that's great. But I suppose yeah, you're going over there, and you still had in your mind that you were wanting to pursue the chance to be a professional runner, essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but ultimately, what happened was you're not a professional runner. So, at
Mhm.
what point did you realize either you weren't good enough or the dream was not going to be a reality?
So I was over there for like 5.5 years, and so from 2015 to whatever, like 2020-ish, and the whole time, like I still believe like I could be a professional runner, like, and at this point, like I still believe like if I decided to go down that road, I still think I could be a professional runner. The thing with being over in the States, I kind of prioritize the social aspect uh too much. Like if I was hoping to be or use that environment to be like a professional. Sorry, I'm shaking the camera.
Yeah.
If I was hoping to develop myself into a professional athlete in that environment, I would have had to sacrifice a lot in terms of the social life that I had.
Mm-hmm.
Where am I going?
Yeah. So then you said you weren't going to sacrifice your social life in order to become a professional runner, and that's what you decided, essentially.
Yeah, yeah, I think the like college environment, it is, especially the one that I was in, is probably not conducive to elite performance. It's like I'm sure you could make it work. You definitely could make it work if you wanted to, but just like with your like friends and stuff going out on like Fridays or Saturdays, it's like it's quite a challenge to just stay in and like go to bed early on those Fridays and Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
And I chose most of the time. Well, there are certain seasons where I really did knuckle down, and I did less of like the socializing, and those were the seasons that I did best in cross country. But a lot of the time, I chose to socialize more than I chose to prioritize like a professional athlete's life.
Lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
lifestyle.
but looking back, do you still think you gave a good account to yourself? Or are there any regrets in terms of like what you achieved in running?
Um, I do think about this sometimes, like in terms of regrets, and I don't really like. I look back and I like loved every single minute of my time there, and I sometimes think if I had decided to be like laser focused on
Mm-hmm.
uh like professional running and professional lifestyle there, um, I wouldn't be the person that I am today, or I wouldn't have the like knowledge that I have today. Like I see that part of my life as that was a shit ton of fun and I had a blast. I didn't prioritize my like sport as much as I uh, potentially could have,
Mm-hmm.
but now that is uh, allowed me to progress to this stage of my life where I am like 100% focused on sport.
Great. That brings
Yeah,
us nicely then to this stage. So
indeed.
you'd done your 5 or 6 years in America, and you come back to Ireland. This was just before COVID or during COVID.
It was December 2020, so it's kind of like in the middle-ish of it.
Mm-hmm. And you sort of, in your mind, you'd done all you wanted to do in running, and there wasn't anywhere that you didn't want to progress with running. You wanted to switch to football. Is that right?
Yeah, it was kind of thoughts I'd been having myself, and then like conversations that I've had with you and other people, just thinking about how I want to spend my time on like my time like during my life. And I thought, like I asked you the question, like what would you do without if you didn't have to get like money or whatever, like a regular job to survive.
Mhm.
um and then you asked me the same question, and I realized that I would want to play football, like because it just seems like the most fun way to spend this period of my life. um and yeah, so this like part of like this like footballing journey or this stage of my life is the realization of potential. Is like, for whatever reason, that is an incredibly important uh thing to me. Like on my deathbed, I don't want to be thinking like I had all this potential like in this certain thing, and I just let it go to waste. So that's a really big driving factor for me in terms of just seeing how good I can get at
Yeah.
playing football, and then just like comparing it to running. Uh, I really love running, but it's not as fun to me as football. And then just like a small side note, if you get really good at football, you get really rich. If you get really good at running, you're lucky
Struggle.
to make
Yeah.
ends meet.
Yeah. The rewards are potentially greater for a similar
Yeah,
level of success. But so
yeah.
that was interesting. You said, like, on your deathbed, you want to feel like you've realized or come close to your full potential.
Mhm,
Um, that is interesting because I'm sure a lot of people would think that way, but I think what's different with your mindset is you have really pinned that down to a very specific area in your life, which is fitness and even more specific, football. And so your success is defined in football, and it's whereas some people might want to define it more like as a all round sort of their whole life and incorporating their fitness and their maybe football as well as their job and family and social
mhm,
and things. But I think what's different is you are really just choosing that one area and want to go all out in that one area. Would that be
mhm.
fair?
It is fair. I do look at every aspect of my life, and uh, I just try to improve like every aspect of my life. Um, but in terms of realizing my full potential, I think you have to focus on one thing at least for a long period of time. So for like 10 years or 20 years. I think in order to actually reach that like upper echelon of what you're actually capable of, you need to focus on it for that solely for that length of time.
Exciting. And so talk us through your football journey so far. I guess it's been just over 2 years, a bit more than 2 years, 2.5 years since you made that
Yeah,
transition from running to football.
yeah.
What has happened in that time?
So I was doing a little bit of football training when I was back in the States, and then I got back here to Belfast in December 2020, and I started doing like proper football training. Obviously, we were still in lockdown, or at least I was when I came back out in quarantine or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and there were no clubs like playing at the minute, so I was just trying to improve like technically, physically, and like tactically as well as psychologically. Um, and so whenever things started to open back up again, no, I talked with some people that I knew were involved with the like football community in Northern Ireland and asked for their recommendations of clubs to join. Um, I chatted with a guy called Eddie, who I'd known from my running days, and he suggested Queen's Grads. And uh, I had a hope that it would be like a stepping stone to the semi-professional Queen's team, but that didn't turn out to be the case. And then so I joined Queen's Grads, playing for their threes initially, over like a summer tournament,
Mm-hmm.
and then continued to train with them. Asked to try out with the twos and ones, and then was training with the twos and ones. Played a few games for the twos, and then for the ones, and then played for them for I'd say like half a season, and then I broke my ankle in I think it was September 2021. Just like I think it must have been going over a divot or something on the pitch. Then recovered from that, went back to grads January 2022. I was kind of I was enjoying like all the lads there were great, and I was enjoying it, but I just felt like the quality and intensity, it was mainly the intensity of the training was lower than I wanted it to be. And then I just looked at my other options and thought that Aquinas Football Club was a good option. Played for them as a kid. and they had a good team, and I'd been to a couple of their training sessions, and they were more intense and more what I was looking for. So then I joined them and played for their threes for probably like the last third of last season, and then this off season played a couple of preseason games with the ones, and then started off the season playing a few matches for the twos, and then just in the past couple of weeks played a couple of matches with the ones. So things are progressing nice enough on the football journey. There's going to be lots of ups and downs, but yeah, it's going pretty well at the moment.
Yeah. So what league are? Yeah, it's pretty amazing progress from the threes to the ones, and then you switched football team, and then back at the threes, and then back up to the ones again, and all during COVID and during ankle injury. So what? And you made your debut for the ones last week, is that right? For the Aquinas ones?
Yeah, just 8 days ago I made my first like competitive start for the ones, and then yesterday was my first league start.
Class. And what league are they in? The
They're in
Aquinas one?
1B of the amateur league, so it's Premier Division 1A and then 1B, so third division of amateur football.
Okay.
And I think roughly like sixth division of football in Northern Ireland.
Okay, fair enough. So that's pretty high level stuff. And my question is, obviously your goal then is to keep progressing as fast as you can, essentially. What's the next step from here? Do you stay with Aquinas ones for another full season, or are you looking to try and jump ship again to another team? Or
I'm just considering all options at the moment. So bigger focus for me is just improving. It's like the process and improving myself as a footballer. So just like improving, just like the technical aspect of my game, continue to get like stronger and faster with my lifting. My fitness is obviously pretty good from my running, so just keeping that up at its high level. And so that's a bigger focus for me rather than where I'm playing. But if I do want to reach that high potential, I'm obviously going to have to be playing against and with as high quality players as I can. So I'm enjoying my time at Aquinas at the minute. So main focus is just improving myself, giving 100% to Aquinas over this season, and then like if opportunities come up, like I'll take them as they come, and if they make sense, if it gives me opportunities to play against higher level players, then I'll probably take them. But we'll take each one on like a case by case basis and just go with the flow.
yeah, and just
enjoy the journey.
Just see how far you can get, essentially.
Yeah,
you're not putting any limits on yourself, I imagine.
No, definitely not. Just yeah.
Question.
Where I could go.
Yeah, and what do you say? You must experience, first of all, occasionally self-doubts, like doubting whether you can make it for a lot of reasons, and also doubts from other people thinking that like what's the point of trying, mainly because football is extremely competitive, and especially at your age, our age, we are 26. Yeah.
Yep.
Are you 26 yet, or still 25?
No, 26 yet.
Which is late in the game of football. Like obviously we both know that, so it makes it harder. What do you say to those people that doubt you, and how do you overcome doubting yourself as well?
The thing for me is like the ultimate goal is just the realization of potential. Like if I find that my potential leads me to the highest I can ever play is 1B in the amateur football league, like I'll be okay with that. but I won't be okay with me not trying to reach my potential. So I'm not too worried about like what level I think I can play at or what level other people think I can play at. I'm just going to keep on pushing to like stretch my like abilities and just look for new challenges and just see how I can go and enjoy the journey, because it's been fun so far and I intend for it to be fun in the future.
Yeah. So ultimately, if you didn't reap any rewards, you would still be embarking on this journey. Essentially, is that the point you've got
Yeah,
to? Yeah.
like it sounds cliche, but like the journey is the reward in itself. It's
Mm-hmm.
like whenever you reach a goal, like it feels really great at the time, but the lasting like fulfillment and satisfaction for me personally comes from the just the day in day out grind of just like working hard, the progress, just making yourself better.
Yeah. Amazing. And I quickly want to talk about then the process at which you've mentioned.
Mhm.
Got into the mindset there, but you're doing a lot of work outside of football, and so football itself is 2 training sessions a week, is that right? And then a match on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then what other stuff do you do on top of that? What's in your schedule on a week to week basis?
Yeah, I work PwC 9 to 5, or 8:45 to 5. But yeah, so it's kind of just like fitting the activities that I want to get done during the day around that schedule. So they're obviously paying at the minute me at the minute, so like they get a bit of priority. So it'll be just getting in like runs or football training at lunch times, just getting my lifts in right after 5 o'clock, getting like morning meditation in and visualization and stuff like that. And that's most of what's going on in my life at the minute. And then just like spending time with like my friends and girlfriend and family, mainly on the weekends.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like that has to take a backseat in order for you to fit in your job, your way of making money, as well as your physical training and your
Yeah, it's definitely is a big part of my lifestyle, even though like mainly during the week it'll be like limited time, but during the weekends it's especially on Sundays, it's like my main priority.
Mhm. And yeah, and I think that is important. But I noticed that you, like, even within that area, you are very comfortable with having only a few close, like, family you obviously value massively, and the support
Mhm.
you've received from your parents and family throughout the years obviously got you this far, and you recognize that. But you're very comfortable with having a closed, supportive, close group of people rather than saying yes to meeting lots of other people. Would that be right?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that comes back to like my what we were talking about earlier about my social life at Miami. Like that was that was probably the main part of my time at Miami. But now I feel like I've entered like a new stage in my life. It's like I have like I still have the same number of friends, but like the frequency in which I see them is lower, and I'm more than okay with that. But yeah, it's definitely the people that I see frequently. It's a lot smaller than it used to be.
Yeah. Um, Amazing. I'm just trying to see, is there anything else I want to talk about? Um, is there anything that you feel like you want to mention still, or something that is important in your journey so far that we haven't covered? Um,
Um, it's gonna come up with an inspiring message there, but I don't know if it's the right time.
well, it might be. We'll finish on an inspiring message. So if the time is now, then we will go with it. But unless there's anything else you thinking we
Nothing
haven't
else
covered.
about my journey.
Yeah, great. So let's hear the inspiring message. Like, I guess what
I
I've
said I
came.
don't know. Did
I'll
I say
set you
I had
up.
one?
I'll set you up.
Um, it's more, it's not going to be, like nice and concise, but it's more just like general thoughts that
Okay.
people, I find that people like underestimate what they're actually capable of and what they believe they're capable of,
Mm.
and they sell themselves short. And I just want them to start believing that they can actually achieve the things that they dream about, and they don't have to settle for um a life that they think they deserve. They can actually have the life that they want if they're willing to go out and work for it.
Amazing. I thought you would say that exactly. I knew you were going to talk about don't limit yourself, no
Yeah.
limitations, and yeah, see what you can achieve. So you've definitely said that, and you're definitely proving that every week, just hitting these goals, these lofty goals, and you're continuing to do that. So, very inspiring. Thank you very much for coming on, Athlete of the Week, and very excited to follow your journey still. And who knows, maybe we will have you on again in a year or 5 years' time and see where you're at then. But thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much for having me, buddy. It's been a pleasure.
No worries. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening to Athlete of the Week. Goodbye.
Bye. So funny. Thanks, buddy. That was good fun.
I'm going to try and stop.